Have you ever looked at anyone to kind of mimic their form?
So, y'all are gonna hate this.
I don't hate that. I think that's
It's just-
freaking sick, dude.
It just kind of ended.
He's a savant. Yeah, I just, see the colors.
The incredible horizontal nature and stiffness of that brace leg.
Like my lats on my right side are huge compared to my left side.
Really? If you make it down to Central Florida, I'm like, do I even teach you a 360? Because it's literally just gonna basically end my own career.
Oh, I'll ask a personal. How fast do you stand still?
Do you know what you've done by asking that question, Clint?
I've sealed my own fate.
Anytime I've broken 80 on radar, it just felt light. Does it feel like the disc is like kind of light, just kind of coming through with no effort on your best throws?
On like the very best throws, it feels like I barely am throwing it. And this was one of those days where like they were coming out with some pop, like.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, I didn't stop smiling for a minute. I'll be honest.
80 miles per hour.
Hey everyone, hope you're having a fantastic day. Just real quick before we get into the interview with Jasper Tyll, wanted to give a big thank you to Clint, BlitzDG, for coming on and helping me out, run the interview, and for helping out with the software stuff. Couldn't have done the video without him, so please go subscribe to his channel. I'll put the link up here. And also a big thank you to Jasper, of course, for coming on and being so generous with his time. Super well-spoken, just cool dude. Really love to see guys like that succeeding like he did, winning the USDGC distance competition last year. I'll put a link for his Instagram and his YouTube. Make sure to follow and subscribe those so you can see, more of his freakish bombs that he posts on those. And then, of course, even though I hate to ask for it before the video, if you guys would be able to subscribe so you can see more of these videos in the future, because I'm going to be doing more episodes. Hopefully Eagle McMahon, Anthony Barela, David Wiggins, those types of folks coming on this show to do this style interview as well. Well, hope you guys enjoy this interview with Jasper as much as Clint and I did. And without further ado, here's Jasper Tyll, 2024 USDGC distance champion. You getting mobbed after the video dropped yesterday, Jasper?
No, not at all. Not at all. But
No,
I had a
only
bunch
like
of friends watch
10,000 DMs. No biggie, bro.
Yeah, not yet. Not yet. I think you are going to see a big influx of people asking questions for sure.
We'll see. We'll see. I'm not opposed to that.
Yeah, it was thick. Well, Jasper, I guess this is the first time you've talked to Clint, right? This is Clint here.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I know who you are. I don't know if you know who I am, but
I've seen some of your stuff. Yeah. Big Standstill guy.
Yeah, there you go. We'll
The
have
Jack
questions about
Bear
Standstills
throwing
a little later.
Standstills.
Right.
By the way, how's the summer break going? Are you taking any summer classes or are you chilling right now?
I got one summer class, but it's like a fake summer class because it allows me to get college credit for my internship. So that starts in 2 days. So just kind of hanging out right now. Got a couple jobs lined up. So hopefully lots of
sick.
frisbee throwing.
You're
So
going
real
into senior
quick.
year, right?
Mm-hmm.
And how old are you?
I'm 20.
Yo, so I was watching the distance comp video, right? And I was thinking to myself, dude, if I was 20 and I just straight walked into distance comp and just mashed like that, and I was just high-fiving everybody, my life would be so good for a little while. Like I would feel so good.
Yeah, dude, I didn't stop smiling for a minute. I'll be honest.
I think the first thing I wanted to start off with, honestly, was just replaying this. All right, so
This reach back
this is the
a little
throw, in my
unorthodox,
opinion,
but
one of the
he's
gnarliest throws
getting
that's
as
been
much
laid
of your
down.
arm into the shot as
So we're just
humanly
gonna play
possible.
this real quick. 81 on pocket radar. The Luster M, right?
Yes.
Dude, that's the disc.
Just-
That's the throw.
Dude, and it.
They go
my
so
God.
far.
So I remember that and just being like, honestly, it's kind of disturbing to see a disc fly like that. So anyways, when that came out of your hand, what were you thinking? And then when you started hitting that angle and then starting to get that pan out, were you like, dang, this is going to be a nasty one? Or were you kind of waiting for the number to come back?
Yeah, honestly, so coming into the distance contest, really all I wanted to do was beat last year's distance, which I think was 625, 630, somewhere in that range. So I didn't have expectations of throwing that nuts far. I didn't have a ton of experience with the Emperors. I'd gone out to the field a couple times and kind of just tossed them and figured out what the height was that I could hit them and they'd still turn for most of the flight. But that day specifically, I felt like my timing was fully synced and I could basically hammer stuff close to as hard as I can throw. and it would come out still where I wanted to. So
Dang.
all of those throws, like I just thought I was gonna keep ripping. I was honestly, now looking back at the video yesterday, I'm a little sad that David Wiggins didn't end up making it in the finals. Not that like I still think that he had a very good chance of beating me, but like it would have been sick to not have that asterisk of like him not being there. Because I feel like I could have at least competed with him that day. So
Yeah, no, that's
So
fair for sure.
I have one thing to say about that. I watched the comp and I looked at some of the numbers and stuff. I genuinely think like from what I saw, like just evaluating, like I feel like you were the best on that day. Like from everything I saw, it looked like you were throwing the hardest. You had the best control. Like I think it is what it is. Like I think personally, you would have still taken it even if it had been.
Agreed. I mean, I saw it in person. Like, I love David. He's my goat for sure because like I grew up watching the videos of him throwing, and he's a great guy too. But like Jasper, your angles were pretty consistent. Even the ones you missed a little bit still went pretty dang far, especially in the finals where like the wind was not good and you hit 670-ish, I think.
yeah,
Yeah.
the finals win was tough. I think I lucked out like during the day. I got like very calm to almost no wind, if anything, slight tail. But the finals, I think it was even slight headwind, and it was not ideal for like if you're trying to go throw far. Like obviously you don't want to be thrown into a headwind. That is not going to help anything.
Hmm.
No. It was right to left headwind as well, right? It wasn't even like a left to right. Like
I think so. Yeah.
it's basically worst
So
case scenario.
as soon as it gets on the Anheuser, it's just dropping. Yeah.
Yeah, it's game over. Yeah, for sure. So, and for the people watching like this video on YouTube or Instagram, whatever, these throws in the USDGC and most distance competitions are measured from where the disc impacts the ground. It's not including any skips. So when we're talking about like 670 or 700, that is like where the disc, that's from where his foot was when he threw to where the disc impacted the ground. So just kind of asking about, so this is probably like the most boring question if I'm being brutally honest, but it is something where it adds some good context for people just to kind of, understand what's going on. Your height, weight, and wingspan, just so people can kind of know like lever lengths and everything.
Yeah. So I think I'm just shy of 6 feet, 5'11" and some decimal, flat foot without shoes. And then my wingspan is closer to 6'3", 6'4". So I have a pretty solid positive ape index. And I sit right around like 165, 170, somewhere in that range.
Sounds like a disc throwing machine.
Yeah, it's a good athlete build for sure. Or like basketball, where like you're a point guard and you're like the 6 foot guy, but your wingspan's like 6'8" for whatever reason.
I did play basketball, but soccer was the
Yeah.
main sport before disc golf. Yeah,
Okay. Yeah,
big
we'll be
soccer
asking
guy.
you more about that for sure too with the other sports and everything. But yeah, that's good. So yeah, good levers, but nothing like too absurd. Like it's not 7 feet,
Yeah.
280 or whatever. So I wanted to ask about like your athletic and sports backgrounds first. Just if you could maybe walk us through like chronologically, starting from like the first sport you played or whatever the first stuff you did growing up and what you're doing now as well.
Yeah, so I guess starting all the way at the beginning, my dad's a PE teacher. So like me, as soon as I was born, basically playing sports, soccer, like I said, was the big one. I played travel soccer for a long time. And then like the middle school thing, I guess I was soccer, basketball, baseball. Um, but I think like basketball was a later addition. It's just kind of fun to play with your friends. But the two that I like played outside of school were both soccer and baseball. And I think and I played so then I started disc golf kind of around um that time frame as well. And then in high school I really only played soccer and disc golf, and some ultimate as well, but mostly it was just the frisbee throwing and the soccer, up through high school. And then in college I played club soccer for a little bit, and then now I'm basically just strictly disc golf. I play some pickup occasionally, but basically just throwing stuff.
In ultimate, were you the designated polar where you would just throw it the full length of the field and then run down
Big
with
D
your
line
soccer
guy for
endurance
sure.
right
Yeah,
on defense?
yeah, that
How,
was my spot.
so how do you think like those sports played a role like in making you, better at disc golf or better at throwing?
So I think a thing that I've noticed with like a lot of soccer players is we have like pretty solid hip flexibility, and so the like rotational speed is generally pretty solid. that's just like something I picked up on. We got like generally better lower body engagement
Hmm.
from some of my friends who play soccer, but also baseball. I'm a lefty batter, so that motion of swinging is the exact same as like a backhand form.
Mm.
So I imagine probably some of that muscle memory translated into like what a backhand would look like. Um,
Yeah.
but also at this point, I've been throwing frisbees for 10 years. You know, like I was a little 5 foot kid ripping discs. And then I hit puberty and grew a whole bunch, and then suddenly I could throw really far. So that probably had something to do with it as well.
Soccer for the footwork and just overall coordination, and then having the switch hitting where you're in the same rotational direction as the backhand, that is just like
Right.
literally all the cards falling in place. That like makes sense why you ended up with such a good arm in the backhand, because that is definitely what I've seen with the guys I coach online. The soccer players do really, really well, surprisingly, for not using the arms too much. I think what you're saying is spot on with the hip engagement, because the lower body could be such a hard part of the backhand to learn, such an awkward thing to learn for people.
Yeah.
Well, and I think the soccer players also are really good at changing direction. And like that's, I feel like that's part of what the brace is when you're throwing backhands, right? Like you're stopping all of that momentum and trying to like pull through.
Yeah,
And so I think that's probably also part of it is like being able to have a solid brace because of that lower body engagement.
Yeah.
yeah, that's a
And
great point.
it's yours is super noticeable too. Like you just blast into the ground and you're like nothing is going
Yeah,
past this leg, bud.
we
Well,
got some
I
videos to pull up eventually so we can look at that slow mo.
Yeah, and I slip all over the place. My like actual so like also distance form is completely not completely different, but like it's a different feeling than me throwing on the course. And even on the course, I'm still like slipping all over the place. So it's a thing. The brace sometimes is a little too much.
I think that like how you develop your form is like kind of important to what it looks like in the end. And a lot of people like look to someone or look to a few different people throughout their like career, throwing career to kind of mimic. So we were wondering like, have you ever looked at anyone to kind of mimic their form? If so, who?
So I mean, it's tough to say. I think when I started playing, like the people at the top that I was like, oh, sick, they're really good throwers was like the Paul, Eagle, Simon, and Seppo. Those were like the people that I was like, oh yeah, they're very good throwers. I might be able to send you a clip of me throwing when I was younger. My form hasn't changed a ton, like for like 8 years before like the last two. Like the last two, I feel like my arm slot has definitely like shifted and changed um in a way that's more kind of like vertical or on the angle that I'm throwing. Before that, I was very much like low, still kind of reminiscent of like I don't know, old Paul or Eagle,
Hmm.
kind of out in front of me. Um, but yeah, it's tough to say. Like it would be hard to not be influenced by like the people that were on all the feature cards of like the 2015, 2016, 2017, like all the Spin TV, Central Coast coverage. But it wasn't like y'all are gonna hate this. I've never really done field work. Like I've never really filmed myself and like gone and tried to change things. Um,
I don't hate that. I think
it's
that's
just
freaking sick, dude.
it's just kind of ended.
No.
It's kind of ended up as where it is. And again, I'm not like even opposed to doing form work and field work in that way. It's just not something that I've ever done. Like I think at a certain point, if you are so focused on the form and getting that perfect, and you're thinking about the form while you're throwing, like it might affect other like consistency on the course. And if like you can figure out something that's working on the course, that's kind of more where my brain has gone because I like competing. I'm a competitive person. So I feel like my form has evolved more so as how will it make me a better disc golfer versus I'm trying to throw the farthest. I'm trying to be the most like pretty form, which like I don't think anyone's ever described my form as pretty except like in a mechanical like it it works way. Um,
Yeah. I really like your opinions about this stuff. Like I think that you hit the nail on the head. Like there's like a natural form that everybody has, their body just likes, and it's like you can tweak it a little here and there, and you can move it this way a little bit, but that core of like how your body produces power, it's just like it's ingrained, like deep usually.
and I think also like your body will find the path of least resistance eventually. Like if you continue to do something for long enough, like eventually your body will find natural ways that are easier and more effortless to complete those tasks. So I think like getting the reps in is also part of it.
And I know you mentioned like people haven't described your form as beautiful, but I think like I've been coaching full time for a year now, and as time has gone on, I've gained more of an appreciation for a form like yours, where it's effective, it's congruent with like how your body is built, what your structure is, and it just gets the job done sustainably. And like the way it looks aesthetically, I feel like is so arbitrary in some ways. Like if you look at like a distance runner, some people have some weird arm swing that doesn't look maybe as aesthetic as like some Kenyan that has a perfect arm swing. But if they're fast and their legs are doing the good stuff that matters, which, you know, the legs are moving down the track, then it's like good form. So I feel like the aesthetic component is like so arbitrary and isn't even as important as like, okay, this is effective form. You can throw 700 feet in a distance competition, like that is going to have a beauty in it because it's effective. I don't know. That's just kind of like my take. I don't know. It's just kind of where I am now with that stuff.
And I've never sat there and been like, man, my form's ugly. I'm going to try to change it and make it look pretty. Like I'm pretty happy with where it's at, you know?
Yeah,
Dude,
yeah.
I
Sure.
do think that's really common though. People do change their form to just look prettier. It happens all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm at the point where like
fall in love with the way it looks. Otherwise, it's just never going to be sustainable. And it's like we're playing for fun anyways. So why not just fall in love with the way, you know, one's form looks?
And I'm at the point where like it doesn't hurt my body like anyways. I can throw as much as I want. Like I don't know. It'd be tough to try to change. I think at this point now that I've had so much muscle memory, like with this general form, like obviously it's going to change and evolve naturally on its own as I tweak different things. But
No, I love that opinion. Like, if you can throw pain free, and if you can throw it where it's not like too taxing on your body, like, and just grind it a little bit and see if you can find those little bit more efficient pathways your own way, and like feel good. Because like a lot of people try to change too much and they end up doing something that's kind of unnatural to their body and causing some kinds of injuries and stuff. So. Were there any specific things you did change or like do drills to change in your form? Like, was there ever a time when you were like, okay, this doesn't look right or this is wrong, I need to fix it, and you like did something to fix some part of it?
I'm being completely honest. No, like my
Okay.
form has fully just evolved based off of like results on course really. Um, I think my freshman year of college, I threw a lot in a field because I didn't have access to a course for that first little bit before I got my car. So I was throwing a lot, and that I think more than anything changed my form in a way that like I think I pulled through more linearly and like towards a target instead of just kind of like throwing.
I like that.
And I don't really know a great way to like demonstrate that, but I think probably both of you know exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that evolved my form to be like more stood up and upright and rotating around where my front leg is and front hip. But other than that, I think that was more of like this feels correct and this feels like a way that I should be throwing more than like I was like I haven't videoed myself and like looked at it and tried to fix things. So like I think it was more just like this feels correct, and that was how I went about it.
Okay.
And it was completely like results and consistency based.
Yeah.
With how the discs flew.
It's a great lesson in, there's always a time and a place, I guess, for letting the body just kind of find a way and being patient with it. Maybe for some people, they aren't as talented as you, and it's just going to take them longer, but probably still would benefit from an approach like that in a lot of cases.
Well, and also this is like, 7 years now of like just playing like at a competitive level, right? So like it's not like this has been a short thing. I haven't always thrown super far. And I feel like throwing farther and farther and farther the more that I play. Like I still haven't hit a month where I'm like, yeah, last month I was throwing way farther. Like I still feel like I'm continuing to throw just as my body gets used to, growing and putting size on my frame. And so I think that's part of why it's taken so long is because I just throw.
The disc golf world's in for it, boys. If this guy's still getting better, it's not good.
Dude, if I can learn how to play and score in tournaments, y'all should be worried.
Yeah. But we'll talk about the course stuff for sure at have that on the questions we want to talk to you about, because I know you play competitively, and that's a big thing that you probably enjoy as well. So we'll definitely get to that after we finish our nerd out about how you throw so far.
I'm interested to hear what you guys say about it, because like obviously both of you are people that the community trusts to break this sort of stuff down. I'm interested to see like your opinions on it. I don't know.
On your form. That's great timing, because with you talking about how you kind of made your pull through more linear, and I was going to ask you about some mechanic stuff, so we could actually go through. Yeah, so this is the throw that got you that number one tech disc ranking. And does it put the numbers up here, Clint? Do we get to see the numbers for this throw?
It does not. I actually don't know.
It was like 81 miles an hour, close to 1600, right? Something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
So you want me to pause at the coil?
Dude, he's so good at this. It's just
it's a big coil for sure. It's a big coil, but it's very centered for sure.
Yeah. So what I see
Jasper,
so far is like
go
ahead.
Jasper, does it feel like you're pulling your left shoulder blade to the target, or did you just figure out how to do this without your head getting yanked back with the disc?
Not at all. When I'm throwing, I'm fully thinking about like release point and like angle. Nothing about what the rest of my body is doing is going through my head. It's just how it happens.
Dude's just built different. The legend just continues to build.
I think lucky is more where it's at, but
no, I think you're actually onto something. Like I tell people all the time, like you shouldn't be thinking about your form when you're trying to perform, right? You're thinking about your form when you're working on things, but when you're trying to perform, like even on the course or in a distance competition, you really shouldn't be like, oh, on that throw I pulled it right because I didn't stop my hip quick enough. You shouldn't be focusing on that. Just think about throw it straighter.
Yeah.
And let your body manage all that the micro stuff. What I can see here is one, he has really fast feet, right? He just has like quick feet. You can tell like the little ladder thing you put on the ground that they always like. He'd be good at that, right? He has quick feet. Obviously, he gets a ridiculous coil, and yeah, he gets really good hip coil, really good shoulder coil, and he has what I would describe to people as like. He has like a complicated form. So there are lots of things working together to make it work, right? It's not like a very, very simple form where like he's pulling through completely flat and like spinning completely upright. He's doing a few different things to add more power and then compensating by doing other things to like make the swing path back to normal is what I would say.
Agreed. Yeah. And I imagine a lot of that is possible because of the athletic talent and also just how long you've developed the form. Maybe the body it's had so many reps I'm just, speculating. It's had so many reps to make all those little timers and those complexities work together pretty well. Kind of like if you look at Paul Macbeth, like when he was on his extremely dominant reign, like mid 2010s, just the best disc golf that's probably ever been played. He had a pretty hard to mimic, pretty complicated form with a lot of stuff that could go wrong, but he's just a freak and he just made it work. Through sheer willpower and talent probably. And hard work. So it's pretty interesting. Any comments on that, Jasper, on what we mentioned there before we go to the next part?
No, this is cool. I like looking at my form in slow motion. This is I rarely ever get to do this, so this is pretty sweet.
Yeah, because you never filmed yourself, so this is probably
my body gets in some funky positions. Like my follow through, oftentimes my right arm is all the way around in front of my body again on my left side. It's pretty nuts.
That's crazy. So
if it's going 100 miles an hour, it's got to get some length to decelerate. Probably it's got to whip around.
One thing I would like to ask is, do you think you're leaving your arm at as little tension as possible, or are you actually pulling with your arm as hard as you can?
Thinking about it, I think that I am actively rotating forward, but more so through my elbow than through my shoulder, if that makes sense. I'm not I think it's more of a decompression of these two joints more so than my whole body's rotating. But I definitely think my hips and lower body start that as my left arm comes down and starts flipping my shoulders. I think that's kind of what starts driving the forward momentum.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Go ahead,
if
Nick.
I'm understanding how you describe the throwing arm, it's more of a like elastic whippy motion where it's kind of just bouncing through rather than feeling like an extreme high tension effort type of thing.
Right, like when I'm throwing, I don't ever feel like I'm like muscling it and like ripping it. Like it's more of like a flowy, like the disc is coming through, and it feels fluid, more so than like I'm like jacked and like just trying to rip it through as quick as I really can. And I think that's probably part of the reason that generally my timing is pretty solid is because I'm not forcing my body into those positions. Like, and obviously in a motion like this where it's happening all so fast, like I don't know if forcing it through is ever really going to work as good as your body having that muscle memory. But again, you guys probably know a whole lot better about all of that than I do.
No,
It
I mean,
sounds like you know
you're
exactly
spot
what you're
on.
talking about.
Yeah, no, all of my fastest, like anytime I've broken 80 on radar, it felt like the most relaxed, just non-try hard throw where the arm kind of came through like butter, like it just felt light. Does it feel like the disc is like kind of light, just kind of coming through with no effort on your best throws?
On like the very best throws, it feels like I barely am throwing it. Like it is nuts. Like when that timing syncs, it's the coolest feeling ever.
It is.
And this was one of those days where like they were coming out with some pop, like
Yeah.
And like you
That's
had
the
those
best.
days too, right? Like when I broke 75 standstill, I was warming up. I was just a good day, and I was like, oh, I'm feeling pretty good today. Just starting to warm up. I was like, all right, I'm about to get to my power sets. Let me throw a couple. Just like, oh my gosh, what? And like I have a video where I'm like,
yeah.
I did it again, like because I'm so surprised.
I remember that day. You're like, dude, all I did was just try to get my hand through quickly, and I wasn't even trying, and like your numbers were crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
It's like, it's such a good thing though for us to just kind of harp on in this video, because like if we're just trying to give, actionable stuff, it's the best throws are often the ones that feel the easiest and the ones that you're the most surprised by how the disc comes out. It's a weird paradox about the backhand that just you have to like not try hard to actually get, heavy, strong results, which is a really funky thing, but it can also make it so satisfying when you do it right.
It's cool that like timing is such a big part of this. Like obviously having the longer levers is really helpful, but like getting the timing synced up doesn't necessarily mean that like you need massive muscles to like generate the force that's going into the disc, which I just think is like the coolest thing.
yeah.
Compared to like our sport, compared to other like throwing sports.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's really cool, actually. Yeah.
I will say there is something to be said, like, you going out to a field and you probably ripped, 200 shots a day sometimes just throwing your arm off, right? You build this strength that's just like, and you build this tendon elasticity, you build all this stuff to where it's like, then you can go no tension because you just have all that built up around you, right?
Yeah, well, and my like whole right side is like noticeably larger too than my left side. Like when I take my shirt, like my back, like my lats on my right side are huge compared to my left side.
Really?
Because of the years and
God.
years of just like straight up backhand throwing. Like it's kind of nuts.
That's so cool.
I've always wondered about that because Clint and I, like, we do such a high relative proportion of weight room training that's balanced.
Right, yeah.
So I've always been curious, like, does you or Anthony Barela have like a noticeably bigger right rear deltoid than like your left one
Like
or whatever?
my right delts are, I mean, you can almost see it in the video. My right side is, and like my right forearms too. Like all the throwing.
Do you have the right pinky or like the right fingers that are like some of them are thicker than the left ones?
Maybe. I don't know. I don't know if y'all can see that, but
Yeah, my middle is like that too, I think. I think you
I've
do
got
have like a
like
little bit of a...
like yeah. My fingers on my right side are like all covered in calluses all up in my where I'm throwing from. I got like a callus in the middle of my palm from like where the disc like sits. Like it's pretty funny.
Yeah, that's a luster. That's that Jasper Tyll luster imp, isn't it?
Yeah,
yeah.
Ripping off different, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, those things are clean. We gotta
we geeked out for so long on this one frame. We got.
I know, right? We're still at the coil. Oh my gosh. So we're coming through, transitioning into the brace, and the first thing that jumps off the page, personally for me, when I look at this, is the incredible horizontal nature and stiffness of that brace leg. It's so leaned over, so parallel to the ground compared to what most people are able to do. First of all, I don't know if you're wearing like shoes that are designed to be used on sheets of ice. I don't know how that shoe is holding up to horizontal friction in the grass. I think that's a miracle. But
They don't. I slip all the time.
yeah, I'm amazed by that. But more so, really, just the athleticism of this brace and just how hard it stops your body, how hard you come in and how hard it stops your body. And then your arm just flings through. And I mean, obviously, that's one of the biggest reasons I think why, big coil, good timing coordination. But that magnitude of that horizontal force coming through that brace leg is something that, like, there's definitely less than 5 people in the world that I think could probably match that. What does this feel like for you when you do this? Like, I know you don't probably hone in too much, like, on the quad or the glute or whatever, or the leg. But is there something noticeable when you are throwing like this, when you brace like this, personally?
I think it's almost easier to describe it as like once my body's through it, it feels like it was really strong and hard, and like because I can feel the momentum of the disc coming out. But like running up to it, when I don't slip and I'm able to actually rotate through, it feels like everything else in the form like got way more like inertia and energy put through it, which I guess makes sense. Like if you're able to hold that through the start of it, like your brace, you're gonna be able to put more force through your arm and the disc. Like that just kind of makes sense. But like it's not like I feel like I'm planting super hard on my right foot, like it's just kind of how my disc golf throw is. And I don't know that I've ever actually thought about it before this moment, but
we're really dropping some curveballs on you here, then,
bro. He's a savant.
Good.
He's a savant guy. He's legit. Like he's just like, yeah, I just see the colors. It's just like, okay,
yeah,
I guess.
Honestly, this is it. Kind of what you said is it feels like it's almost a byproduct of your intent with the throw. Like when it works correctly,
That's a great way to word it. Yeah.
Okay.
That's so cool. That is so cool. I wish I could feel that in my X step where I'm just like, yeah, I just throw harder and my brace gets phenomenal.
Yeah.
Okay, so really
any comments on the position?
I wanted to point out three things, but I'll be pretty quick. So one is that huge brace that you talk about. It's so strong, you can see his body basically like fold over it because he's going in with so much momentum and it's not budging an inch. So it's like everything in his whole body is like the car accident analogy, right? A car runs in and someone shoots out the front. Like this is exactly what's happening with Jasper Tyll. It's just wham. Then the other two things that I think are really noticeable are one, his rear hip getting like low, down and behind the brace, which is what helps him actually stay behind it. And then three, just how fast his arm moves. Like if you look at how fast his arm starts moving forward, it's not like there's lag, right? He is immediately moving that arm.
Just flings past the body, really.
Yeah,
Just
and like look at heel down. His elbow is already starting to move forward. So it's like it's not like he's putting everything down and then he starts pulling. He is just bam, everything goes at once basically.
That's that timing. You were saying your timing was just dialed in that day, right, Jasper?
Yeah. I was throwing pretty well. I played the Monday qualifier that day, and I don't know exactly what my stats were, but I think I was like C1 or something in regulation on 14 holes, and just couldn't mentally get out of my head. But the throws were going exactly where I was intending to throw them, like especially for throwing at like less effort on the course. Like you guys play disc golf, you also try to throw distance. At no point on the course are you ever trying to throw as hard as you can. At least I'm not. Like there's not really an advantage to that. But like out here, obviously, you're trying to tap into that higher level. And I mean, it feels good. Like throwing hard is sweet. It's one of my favorite feelings.
We can all agree on that.
I think the three of us are probably all addicted to throwing hard and watching discs. And this is actually kind of a tangent from the technical stuff. But how much of like what really made you fall in love with throwing far? Was it something where you're just super good at it and that made it fun, or was it watching the disc fly? Like what kind of makes it like special for you when you're having a good day and you're throwing well?
So around where I'm at, like there are not many courses that I get to throw like distance drivers hard and far. So like when I do get to see them fly, like it's pretty sweet. Um, I also kind of like breaking holes. Like that's kind of fun for me. Like when I get to step up to a shot and do something that is definitely not intended, whether it be like over the trees or like some sort of crazy anhyzer, to like make the whole way easier for me. Like that's also really fun. Um, but I think more so like I just kind of lucked out into being really good at throwing far.
Bang on, Mako threes in the woods, 500 feet. So it's pretty
Yeah, no, and
cool.
I think throwing hard through the woods is like the coolest thing ever. Like being
It
fully
is.
committed through gaps is so much fun.
It is
Oh man,
totally.
yeah. It gives you a better sense of
Yeah.
speed of how fast the disc is going downrange because it's just ripping through those trees, and you can kind of hear the sound more too because like that air kind of echoes a little bit through the woods.
Yeah.
That's addicting
I'm like
when don't hit first available.
I'm like a sound effect guy. Like corkscrew it through the trees where you like started on a bunch of highs and you just and it just kind of, dude, that's like the best feeling.
Oh man, yeah, it's so sick. So from here to here, what are you guys seeing and thinking about?
I mean, he has really cool form, man. Like it it's like everything works together so well. It's like it's one of those forms that just takes a billion reps to get form like this. Like you are not going to go to a form coach and get form like this. It's just never going to happen. You have to get a
That
million
right arm,
reps.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
You got
awesome.
if you got an itch on your left lat, you're good to go, Jasper. Just rip a backhand real quick and just hit the scratch on the follow through. You're good.
He's only going to be able to do that for about 5 more years before that thing starts.
Oh man. Yeah, so it almost kind of reminds me of a horizontal version of a javelin throw with how there's this strong horizontal brace that just stops everything and just catapults the upper body past it. That's what it
Yeah.
kind of looks like to me, even though the backhand does have this, where we are kind of throwing on a flat swing plane. It does seem like you're able to get a lot of that javelin component into it, which again, it's semi-speculative, but it does seem to add probably a good amount of power from what I've seen. What do you guys
Yeah.
think?
And I
I
will say too, looking at this form compared to like on the course form, my plant is way farther forward than it would be like for on the course stuff or if I'm throwing at a slower speed.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's just a product of like the brace being less firm. Like when I'm trying to throw softer or shorter distances, but like I've never really seen my hips be that far backwards except for when I'm trying to throw really, really hard.
yeah,
Yeah,
and
that makes sense.
it's cool that your body just auto regulates it too. You're just like, okay, time to throw hard. Your body's like, we know how to do that. Let's make the brace this angle.
Your shots in the competition looked very nice and nose down, especially that one that you hit 700 feet. I was kind of back into the right, and I could really see the bottom of the disc. Like there was that nice positive launch, nose down. And I guess actually, since we're talking about that, is that something where your body has just naturally figured out those strategies where it just knows, oh, I'm throwing a distance shot, and then it just ends up being that higher launch nose down? Or do you have to like do anything with your grip to manipulate nose angle on purpose?
So I think like naturally I was always more of an Anheuser player. Um, and honestly, when I'm not throwing nose, it's because I'm consciously trying to like spin it and throw more nose up is so like I think my form, maybe it's part of my grip, however I throw, like is naturally a little more on that nose down angle. Maybe it's just because I was trying to throw really far. Maybe it's just like I was trying to throw discs that were too stable for what I was throwing. Um, but again, I also think that's probably just a byproduct of what my form has turned into.
What you're saying is that viewers should go get themselves a Conqueror and use it as their only distance driver, and they will have to throw nose
No,
down.
no, 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 no.
Yep. Even if they're throwing 200, Halo,
It would
Halo's
work.
blend, if they make it, Halo S blend, whatever. Yeah, beefier the better. Just
Okay.
throw that arm off.
So I think we're kind of winding down. I had one more question, and it is, How's your putting? Because I know someone's gonna say something in the comments.
So actually, I've spent like a lot of putting time recently. Like that is not the issue. I feel very confident anywhere inside like 60, 70.
Damn.
And where I'm at, like I haven't really played a lot of singles tournaments this year. Like it's all mostly been just college events, which is fantastic. I love playing college events. But I'm really excited to like try to play some good golf this year. Um, for like the first time ever. I think I've figured a few things out. Part of that's playing a whole bunch with my friend Anthony, who is much better than I am, and then also just like I think I've hit a point where like I now need to think more about what I'm trying to do rather than just kind of throwing it and dealing with the results. But no, I've spent way more time practicing on my putting. I don't think I've really even done any backhand or forehand work like in the last 4 or 5 months. Like I'm at a point where I feel like my timing is going to be generally good. I'm usually going to throw the disc very well and give myself looks. So it's just converting on those looks that has been the focus recently. And so I'm feeling pretty good.
Having someone like AB as like your, like your rival is like, it's got to be the sickest thing ever, right? Like everybody, he's like a tier above everyone else. Even every pro says like, there's a gap, AB, and then everyone else, and you're.
And I will also say, like, I think he probably did not have his best that day, and I did.
Sure.
Like, I think like my best is able to compete with everyone else's best, right? But like, I think probably him and David are the two people, and probably Albert are like the people that if they're getting it out there as good as they possibly can, probably they outthrow me. Like I'm not like they rip. They throw very far.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the disc comes out a little different. I'm not saying it doesn't come out of my hand equally as different, but from me watching, I feel like the disc comes out different from them.
Sure. Yeah, I think that.
Yeah.
I think maybe you got a little bit of imposter syndrome. Who knows? You just got. You're like, I'm not that good.
I saw it all in person up close. I could give my third party objective viewpoint as long as it's not going to embarrass you because I'm like complimenting you too hard. But my like take from it, just brutally honestly, was that your throwing that day was really on a different tier than everyone else's, and it was almost like. It's like if David Wiggins is like the big brother or whatever, and you're like the little brother where you always want to be better than them growing up. But then there's that day where you just absolutely dominate them and you like almost feel bad. I feel like that's where you're coming from, where you're like, nah, I wasn't throwing it as hard as David because it feels weird to beat him. But like he definitely, maybe he didn't have his best day, but he, I mean, you were just hitting. You didn't leave any doubt because you put a lot of good throws out there. 670 in the finals as well. Like it wasn't like you just got this one freak throw and the rest of them were completely OB. So it's like it's one of those things where you guys are all like in that S tier, probably that super rare S tier, and whoever's on that day is gonna.
I think it's exactly that. Like when you're throwing over like 650, the variables for getting 10 feet farther are so much tighter and closer and like harder to reach. And so I think it's one of those things where it's like whoever hits that perfectly in that moment, like it's kind of tough to beat. It's kind of one of those things where like it's incrementally harder to throw like farther and farther as you get up to it. Like
it's not linear, right? It's like it gets
so
way harder, way faster. Yeah.
It gets so sensitive too. I mean, when you're throwing that speed, for one, you're not even really throwing on that crazy of a launch angle, but you have so much energy in the disc and so much speed that if I'm being nerdy, the trigonometry of it just causes the disc to reach a higher height in its flight. So it's not like you're just throwing it straight up and hoping the wind catches it. You're throwing it so ridiculously hard that even though it's on a reasonable launch angle, it is going to end up very high in the air. And any little shift in wind, like especially at the USDGC, when that wind gets weird, like you just see some unfortunate turns that never come out, or just some stall out noob hyzer looking thing where it might have been perfect out of the hand. It's really finicky. If you're throwing 80 miles an hour, like it is really a razor's edge of getting that thing to work out for sure.
That's one thing that I'll say. Like I think generally I'm pretty good because I do so much stuff like results based on the course. Like I think I'm pretty good at generating those looks in a distance comp because like it's similar to my actual throws, right? Like well, and so part of that also, like, I don't know if you guys, Nick, obviously you do a lot of 360s. I've never even attempted. Like, I think I should probably learn at some point.
Oh my gosh.
I'm kind of on the fence. Like whenever we hang out, whether it's where you are or if you make it down to Central Florida, I'm like, do I even teach you a 360? Because it's literally just gonna basically end my own career.
You're constructing your own casket, basically.
That goes heavily punished. No, but it would be sick to see what you could do with it, because I mean, if I know his radar best X step is 82 and his radar best 360 is 85 or 86. So if you just extrapolate that, if you got a 360, you could definitely potentially see a few miles an hour if you get it down. And with your soccer background, like, that's light work, because you're literally just flipping the hips around and then just, doing a basically normal throw.
Oh, I'll ask a personal. How fast do you stand still?
That's a good one.
I've got to take. I might need to go redo these numbers. I think I can get like mid 70s.
It seems to be.
Do you know what you've done, Clint? Do you know what you've done by asking that question, Clint?
I've sealed my own fate, but that's okay.
It's the equivalent of me teaching him a 360. Nice work.
He needs to give me something to work towards, right? If he comes out with some 76, 77ers, then I got a year.
I might. Maybe tomorrow. It's all rainy down here in North Carolina right now, so maybe I will. I'll go toss some tomorrow. See where I'm at.
Luckily, he doesn't have the good shoes yet, so we got a chance here.
Whip out the Tectis. Yeah, true. Okay, so we're not saying the shoes. No, whip out the Tectis, do a standstill, and then make a story, and then make sure to tag Clint with like some major trash talk, and then tag me so I can share it.
Okay, well, what do I have to beat so that I know that I shouldn't post anything if I can't beat that?
No. You got to post your best, and then if you don't beat it, then I get to respond with just the bicep.
You still have the world record, right? Your standstill. You still.
I have the record that I know of. I know that people have done some 1 steps and gotten some pretty crazy numbers, so I'm not saying that they can't be beat, but no one has sent me a pure standstill that beats mine as of yet.
Yeah.
What's the numbers? What are they?
75.3 is my current standstill record, so.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
I'll tell you this. I just got Zach Nash to do it. He threw a 75.2 the first day, lost by 0.1. He said he's coming back after me, so.
I will absolutely do it. I think I've hit at least 75 doing it. But I don't have, obviously I don't have the proof, so I need to go re-up that, see what I can get to.
Okay.
Video and IG, or it didn't happen, bro.
For sure. I will only ever come with receipts. That's not. I will happily let Clint be the king of that if I can't get there. Nick, I need you to go and do and Clint too, actually, righty back in, lefty back in, righty forehand, lefty forehand, add all 4 speed numbers up, see where you can get to.
Okay.
I'll try.
As long as you got some good referrals for ortho surgeons for my left side stuff, especially the forehand, I'm down, bro. Yeah. Anything else?
Nick, are you coming to USDGC again this year?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Here? Yep, I'm coming, and I'm hoping to not miss my angle on all 5 throws is the goal this time. So no, honestly it was a great time, dude. Like meeting everyone, and hanging out. Like that's something I'm going to be doing every year as long as I can make it, for sure. So I'm already looking forward to it.
So sweet.
Yeah.
I actually had FOMO really bad last year that I didn't go, so I might just go. I might just go. Yeah.
Cool. Well, I'm really looking forward to putting this up. Jasper, really appreciate your time and coming on, man. That was really fun to chat and learn about your development. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Yeah, I was super stoked to meet you too, man. I've known who you were for a while now, and it's cool to finally meet you.
Cool. Okay. Well, all right. Hope you guys have a good night. Yeah. See ya.
Peace.